Welcome to another program revolving around the history of Wadsworth. When I say revolving around the history of Wadsworth, that's exactly what this is. Typically we talk about people when we talk about the history of Wadsworth. Today we're going to be talking about a house. And the house is one that everyone knows about, everyone has seen, and much has been in the paper about it, and that is the Parsonage at the Methodist Church. Today I have with me Mary Russell, who painted, and I have to use the word painted because you don't draw pictures like this, you paint them, painted the picture of that house, that beautiful, beautiful home. And as you can see that she took some liberties there, which of course is perfectly legitimate for artists to do, and that is to put a stone fence there and the sleigh and a horse and so forth, and brought out the beauty of winter when, of course, the house looks beautiful any other time, but particularly in winter when it's just laden with snow. So let's talk to Mary for just a couple seconds and find out who Mary is and her prowess as an artist and all of that. Mary Russell, tell us where you are from, how you got to Wadsworth, what do you do in Wadsworth, all of those kinds of things. Let's start from when you came to Wadsworth.
Well, I came to Wadsworth from Altoona, Pennsylvania.
Altoona, Pennsylvania.
I was born and raised there. I lived in an idyllic setting myself. We lived on the other side of a covered bridge. We walked across the covered bridge every morning to go to school, walked up the lane to the school bus.
Now, was it a wooden, obviously?
Oh, yeah, it was a large.
How long was it?
It was...
Approximately?
Approximately, probably 200 feet.
Wow.
Yeah, it was it was the longest span in that time in Blair County.
Did you ever find out why they covered bridges?
No.
You know, there are as many stories about why they covered bridges as there are covered bridges in the state of Ohio, I'm sure. I'm sure the same way in Pennsylvania. But they are picturesque, there's no question about that. Yeah. And then you were born in Altoona, then you came to Wadsworth when?
I came to Wadsworth in 1964 after I graduated from high school. I had an aunt and uncle that lived on North Hill. And
in Akron?
In Akron. And I came and lived with them there and worked. I met my husband out here then.
Here in Wadsworth?
Well, I met him in Akron.
In Akron?
At a local department store.
At a department store.
We struck up a conversation. And
that was it?
And that was it. He said, I have a Corvette. I said, I have a Mustang. And
well, you got that Corvette and Mustang
we got
and married
together.
them.
Yes,
you got
we
married
did.
Them. That's right.
Yeah.
What, you were married then in Wadsworth or where?
We got married in Doylestown.
In Doylestown.
We lived there a few years, then we moved to Wadsworth about 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Where do you live in Wadsworth now?
I live on Highland Avenue.
Highland Avenue. In one of those old homes?
Yes, one of the old. We bought a fixer-upper and we're fixing it up.
Though?
They are. They're beautiful.
They're beautiful. When I was growing up, those old homes were the most stately things in the world. And they still are as far as I'm concerned. I just love that part of Highland Avenue. Incidentally, you still have the brick road or the brick street in front of that, do you not?
Some of them do. I don't have all brick street in front of mine.
You don't have all brick street?
No, I'm on the other side of 261, just on the other side.
You're just a little bit north of the thing.
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
The ones on the lower side are all brick, or most of them are all brick there.
Yes.
The brick is one of those things that people want to preserve, but let me tell you, as a city administrator, it is extremely expensive to preserve that brick. Oh. We could blacktop that, and we're not going to. I hope that no one gets that idea. But we could blacktop that just in a split second and have a good street and so forth. But as a member of the Wadsworth Area Historical Society as well, former president, we want to maintain and retain some of those things. And that brings us to this house. We have cooperated, that is the city of Wadsworth has cooperated with the Methodist Church in their long endeavor of trying to make some kind of a good decision about the house. And I take my hat off to those wonderful people who have suffered so long trying to make that decision, because I can't tell you how sincere they are. And it's our hope now that someone is going to get it and move it and so forth. But in the meantime, you sought out this house and painted it. Tell us about your painting background. That's not what you do for your day job particularly, but tell us about your painting.
My painting, I've been painting for 30 years. I started as a youngster, and in high school I pursued it. And then I kept painting through my married life. My husband, in 1986, agreed to send me to college, and I went to Akron U and got my degree, a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in graphic
BFA
design.
in graphic design.
Yes, and art history. And there I further enhanced my painting from
And
that.
what have you had any shows or anything like that, Mary?
No, I have had no shows.
In other words, you paint because you love to paint.
I paint because I love to paint.
And you love certain kinds of things to paint.
Yes.
What's your favorite?
I love landscapes.
Landscapes.
I'm a landscape
And is this
painter.
why we painted this house?
It's part of the reason we painted.
What's the real reason you painted the house?
The real reason I painted the house is for the beauty of the house.
beauty of the
when
house.
I decided to paint this house, it was because I could see it painted. In the painting, I could see the painting finished. I stood and walked back and forth, took photographs of it, and all the time I was forming the painting in my mind. I knew what it would look like finished.
And you wanted that rock fence in
I
front
wanted
of
the stone fence.
Stone
I felt
fence.
it deserved a stone fence in front of it. The house has a presence.
Oh
and-
boy, does it have a presence.
Yes.
It really does.
And I felt it deserved to have a country setting rather than a city setting, and it needed to be framed by magnificent trees on either side because it's a magnificent house.
It is indeed. Well, perhaps your wish is going to be coming true. If somebody moves that to a nice country setting, that would be very, very pretty.
Yes.
What is the basis for our meeting this morning? Tell us the history of what you're going to do with this painting.
This painting I would like to have made into prints.
Okay, how do you do that? You just
I have to take it to...
put a Xerox machine?
No, it costs quite a bit of money.
Oh, really?
I have to take it to a photographer, a commercial photographer. He makes a transparency of it, then they scan it to a disc, then they make a proof, a half-size proof. You okay all the colors, then from there you take it to the printer. The printer puts it on a good weight paper. Canvas of this size deserves, this is a 30 by 40 canvas, it deserves a 24 by 30 print, paper print. They would pick that out, then they would print it. And the process takes 2 to 3 weeks because you have to be there, okay the printing process as it starts to make sure the coloring is good.
What are you going to do with the prints?
The prints then I'd like to use to go to the church to sell.
To the Methodist Church?
To the Methodist Church to sell, to raise money for
And you're going to donate those to the church?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Now, this is not something that you can do at Bueller's or Kmart, right?
No, not at all.
What's the process? I know that you say that the photographer has to take a picture, and then after the picture is taken, it goes through these other
Right, all this
processes and so
process.
forth. Expense-wise, is it?
Expense-wise, it's very expensive. It's $3,600 to have 500 prints, 24 by 30 size prints made
Wow.
of this image. Those would be signed and numbered limited edition prints.
So what you're trying to do then is to what? Pre-sell these
Pre-sale the prints.
so
for
that you can
enough.
give them to the church and the church can sell them.
That's right.
Sounds like a pretty nice idea. I bet the church would be happy with being able to have that kind of a donation. How much would the prints sell for then?
They would probably sell for around $75 a piece.
That's cheap.
Yes.
My wife has a little bit of a taste for some of these beautiful pictures.
Right.
And she doesn't do it very often, but every now and then I see one coming into the house, and it's a lot more than $75, let me tell you.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my.
Oh, yes.
Particularly if it's signed, limited edition, and so forth.
Right.
I saw one several years ago that came in for $212, and it was only about a foot square or whatever, so
Yes.
this is a 24 by
30
30,
would be the size.
24 by 30.
Full color,
And you say about $75?
$75. Normally, you would sell those for $125, but $75 would be a good price for what we're doing
Oh,
this
yeah,
for.
and that would go to the church.
And that would go to the church.
Well, that would be very nice. How did you happen to think of this as a donation to the church?
I started doing the painting before, several years ago.
Oh, I see.
And so that was before all this was going on with the church. And we knew that they were going to do something with the house. And so as I worked on the painting and this came to light, I thought, well, this would be a good way for the church to use to raise the money.
But the church didn't ask you to do it.
No, the church did not ask me to do it. I approached the church, told them showed them the painting. They said they'd love to, it's a beautiful painting, they'd love to have the prints made of it, but they couldn't figure out how to sell the prints to, and show the painting at the same time
now,
to the parishioners.
When I go home, my wife's going to say, I want one of those pictures.
That's good.
How do we get one? How long does this take?
The process takes 2 to 3 weeks from the time you get the money, but you have to have, I have to have all the money up front to take to the printers.
All $3,600?
All $3,600. So it would be where people would say that they wanted a print, and we would start collecting the money till we got the $3,600.
$3,600.
Then we would take the painting to the printer, have the prints made, and then the church would sell them, however.
Well, now, I can tell my wife directly, but what if somebody else wants them? How do they contact you?
They would contact me through the website on WCTV.
Is this what the website?
Yes, there.
Now, you're talking to a real expert here in computers. I hope that I do this right. This is WCTV at wadsworth.k12.oh.us. No one's going to remember that, so I hope that they put that on the screen, and I hope they said it the right way. But now anyone then who would want to buy one of these prints or order one of these prints, I guess the word, order one of these prints, would be able to do so through this website.
They would tell you who to contact, yes,
and
through the website.
And then they would contact you, and if you get the $3,600, in other words, what your donation to the church is your ability, your
absolutely,
your skill, your artistry,
absolutely,
and that, which I think is extraordinary. Now, the church would be able to sell those 500 prints, let's say for instance for $75, be about $3,250 or so. They would be able to realize from that. And that'd be a very nice gift for them.
Yes,
yeah,
it would.
And since it's for the church, maybe some people would pay even more than the $75 just as
a donation.
As a donation to the church. I don't know anything about tax laws, but I suspect that it's tax deductible and all of that kind of thing for the churches.
Yes.
Well, Mary, that's probably one of the nice things that happens in Wadsworth. So many nice things happen in Wadsworth, but here you are. Are you a member of that church?
No, I'm not.
No, not a member of that church. She walked up there, took a picture of the church, then she painted the church, and then you went to the church and said to them, I would like to donate the prints, and then you keep the money, but I need $3,600, and you don't have $3,600 to spend to get that, so we're asking people if they would like very much to order one of those prints, and the contribution then goes to the church. That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about some of the other things that you have painted.
I like to paint like this places I know. I think they add a lot to a painting. It's all right to make up paintings that you don't know, scenes from your mind, but I like to take something that's there and then add to it or take away from it to make it a thing of beauty. I like to paint pictures of peace and tranquility. We all live hectic lives, and I think everyone, I would want them to walk up to my painting and say, that's a painting I'd like to live into. I can walk into that painting and it's a peaceful setting.
Well, I bet there are a lot of people who'd like to live in that painting.
Yes.
So such a good, generous kind of thing that you're doing here for the church, and when you went to the church, did you talk to the pastor? Or did
pastor.
And he thought that it'd be a good idea for you to do this. Is that right?
Yes, he had talked to someone else in the church, and when he called back, he had said that they couldn't figure out how to raise the $3,600.
So that's our job today.
That's our job today.
Okay, and we certainly want to cooperate with that. I suspect that the first $75 is going to come from Linda Carino.
That's great.
She loves these kinds of things. Some years ago, long before the Johnson House was even considered for the Wadsworth Area Historical Society, someone painted a picture of it, and Linda had one of the very first ones off the press.
Oh.
So she really, really enjoys that kind of thing. She's a historian by profession, and things like this obviously are of interest to her. Now, let me ask you a couple more questions about the process. You say that they take a picture.
They photograph it.
They photograph it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a special camera?
There's a special camera they use. In fact, there are only a few printing companies in Akron that can do it because of the size of the canvas.
Oh, I see.
It takes a special camera to photograph it and not take it out of perspective, not weave the sides, make the sides curve on it. So they set it up, they photograph it to a transparency, which is, it looks like a clear sheet of plastic,
Mm-hmm.
and the image is on that. Then that is scanned into the computer. The image is put...
I figured there'd be a computer in there somewhere.
Absolutely. Everything's computer digital today.
That's right, exactly.
And then the process goes, it's scanned onto a computer.
But you had mentioned something about the colors. You have to approve the colors.
I have to approve the
Don't they just take the colors that are on there?
Well, it's called full color or four-color process. Since there are only four colors, the red, blue, green, and yellow are the primary colors. They're all mixed to create all of these colors. White is not a color.
It's the absence of color.
Yes. So...
No, black is the absence of color.
Well, they're both the absence of color.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I thought that white was
They're mixers. Black and white are mixers.
I see.
They're
Okay.
not colors.
Mm-hmm.
They're used to create color with. But then they make from the scan, they make a digital half-size image. And there's where you see if all the colors, they'll hold it up to the painting, and we'll see if all the colors are the same on the digital enhancement as they are on the painting. If all the shadows are there, if all the reflections are in it, all the light is as it should be. And from that, when the proof is approved, the color is good, then they'll take it to the printer. They'll have the color set on the computer, and then the printer takes it, runs it through their computer, gets the 500 sheets of 65-pound weight paper, which is a nice weight, and they'll then start running it through the presses. They'll run one sheet through the press. They'll pull it out to make sure, well, again, my painting will have to be there because we'll compare the color again to that to make sure that it matches perfectly.
And then do you sign each one individually?
And then I'll hand sign and number each one
And number
individually
each one
with pencil.
With a?
With pencil.
With pencil.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens after that? Do you give a certificate?
I could. I wasn't, but I could, if that would be something the church would request.
Because I think that, in my own experience, I think that my wife has some certificates, and from time to time people will call her. She received a phone call from California one time asking if she had number whatever, and she had the certificate. Said yes, she did. The person said, would you sell it? She said no. But he said, I know how much you paid for it, and said, I'll double the price. And she said no. Good thing he wasn't talking to me.
Well, the thing about a signed and numbered limited edition, and certificates can be issued with them, that they'll call them certificates of authenticity. That can be issued. A signed and numbered limited edition, the way you know if you have the original, means that that print can never be made again in that size.
Oh, I see. But you can make it another size.
You can make it in another size, but a signed and numbered limited edition print in a 24 by 30 means that can't be made again in a 24 by 30 size. You can make it again in a smaller size or a larger size.
But not that same size.
But not that same size, and that's how you tell original prints, the old prints that were made from hundreds of years ago, That's how you tell if they're an original print. The first thing Christie's or an auction studio will do is ask you what's the size, because they can tell by the size if that's an original or not.
You artists have more laws than the Ohio Revised Code. I thought the city was in bad shape. It had so many laws.
Absolutely, they have laws, yes.
Laws and regulations that they have to live by. What, when you say Christie's, who's Christie's?
The auction studio in New York.
In New York.
Yes. That's the first thing they ask. If you call with a print, any print, they'll ask you the size. In the book, it'll tell them if that was the legal size for that year. So many people think they have originals when they don't, and it goes strictly by size.
For heaven's sake, that's the first I've known that.
Oh, yes.
That's the first I've known. Well, I've learned quite a bit here today. My guess would be that in our lifetime this may not be occurring, but somewhere down the line that these pictures will become extremely valuable, because when that house leaves its present location, my understanding is, from what people have told me, that the Cotsworth cottage, is that what it is?
Cotswold College, yes.
That it's the only one around. And if it goes elsewhere, say for instance, I hope it's somewhere else in Wadsworth, but if it goes elsewhere, that we won't have that anymore. And then of course that'll be it served as the Methodist Parsonage for many, many years. And the reason that they want to, it's exorbitantly expensive to maintain. And churches don't have an abundance of money. But we're talking here in the six figures to take care of the roof, I believe, or something like that.
Yes, that's what I heard.
So it's going to take someone with some private funds to handle that. So the church obviously can't afford that at this point, and they have worked so hard to try to do everything they can to preserve it. And I have had the privilege of chatting with many of the people, and it's a heartbreaker to have to do anything other than to move it. So even that's going to be a little bit of a problem for them. But so it's going to be nice that if they can possibly get that moved, and as I say, that there probably is somebody right now who might be doing that. Let's hope at least that that's what's happening. That the next best thing would be to have a picture of that, and then an even better thing would be for the church to be able to profit from the picture, and that's
Yes.
wonderful. Tell me a couple more things about the desire to paint this house. Have you painted other houses in Wadsworth?
Oh, yes, I have. I like wonderful architecture.
Mm-hmm.
The old architecture adds a lot of interest in a painting. I painted this house in particular because as I said, I could see it. It's a perfect Christmas house. And that's
yes.
why I put it in the Christmas setting. I think there's something magical about Christmas. And I felt that this place belonged in a Christmas setting. Mm-hmm. It lent itself to that, the warm glowing windows. I like to put myself in my paintings as I'm painting them. I like to walk around in my painting, walk down the street and peer over the stone wall and wonder who might live in there, and sitting in front of the warm glowing fire in the fireplace and the lights blinking on and off in the tree. When I decide what I'm going to paint, I imagine myself in that setting. And then you're able to create the image that you have in your mind. Mm-hmm. And you put yourself there.
The people in Wadsworth who will be seeing this painting now can call WCTV or go to their website, which is WCTV at wadsworth.k12.oh.us. My guess will be, and I'm not positive about this obviously, but my guess will be that there will be many inquiries. And if these inquiries are such that you're able to get your $3,600 to do this, so that then you can give the proceeds to the church, I guess there's no way that it could be done before this Christmas, is there?
Well, if we got the money right away, yes, it would be 2 to 3 weeks that you could have them before Christmas. You could have them before Christmas.
Well, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
That would be wonderful.
That could be kind of a Christmas card, as it were.
Yes, yes. If we had the money now, take it to the printer, everything could probably be done a week before Christmas.
The reason I ask that is there a possibility maybe that if you can have a different size, that could you make a smaller one to make a Christmas card out of it?
I could, but I don't want to.
You don't want to do that at this point?
I think it needs to be a large print, the size of the home, the size of the painting. It deserves to be a 24 by 30 print.
24 by 30 print.
And you can make cards at that time when the printing is done.
Okay.
Yeah, which would be an added expense onto it.
Mary, it's a wonderful thing to have a person walk by the street, look at a house, like it, paint it, and go to the church and say to them, if I have $3,600, I'll get this done, and then I'll give the prints to you, and you paint it. I imagine pastors just sit around waiting for people to do that. And that was very nice of you, despite the fact that you're not even a member of that church. So what we would like to have our people do then would be to support this through your efforts, and then and this is no profit to you at all. This is going to be completely to the church, and it's your gift to the church. I think that people in Wadsworth are pretty well built that way, where they like to do things just because they're good to do. I have been somewhat involved with some of the conversations regarding the house as mayor, and I'm just really pleased that I do have some involvement there, because the family, even though living in different houses in Wadsworth, and when I say different houses, might be different denominations, we're all part of that same Wadsworth family. And it's good to know that people will go from one place to another and to share their talents, as you have here, Mary, with the other houses, with the other congregations and so forth. And I would say that anything we could possibly do to help those kinds of efforts we want to do. As you know, the city does not become involved with, by law, cannot become involved with anything which is commercial. We can become involved with anything which is completely philanthropic, and it's my understanding that that's exactly what you're going to do. You shared with the Methodist Church your artistic talent and going to make the donation to them. Yes. Mary, thank you very, very much. We hope that you have a wonderful success with this, and we hope that the Methodist Church can derive the good benefits of your work. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for having me here today.